Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. My name is Gordon Malcheski, and I'll be your worship associate for today's service. I'd like to welcome all of you here today in our service, those of you that are here with us in person, as well as those that are joining us via YouTube. Special welcome to any of our first-time guests. We hope that you feel welcome here and that you will experience a sense of community in today's service. For those of you that are joining us on YouTube, if you would, within the next 15 minutes, put into chat if you have any joys or concerns. If you would include those in chat, we will add those to our Lifelines portion of the service. Our minister today is the Reverend Walter LaFour, and I would like to remind all of you, if you have cell phones, if you turn those off or turn them on vibrate. So we'll continue with our words of welcome, our covenant. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. We'll now do our chalice lighting. Walker, you have want to make an announcement to the board meeting notes?
We try always to report to you immediately after we have our board meetings what has gone on. And what has gone on is we started the year spitting nails. I'm not kidding you. We're hitting the ground running this year. Take a look at all this stuff that's going on. The General Assembly is coming. It's be June the 25th, June the 21st to the 25th this year, and it's in Pittsburgh, which is close for us. And that means we're going to have a real hard drive to get folks to run up there and experience what the General Assembly is like. For those of you who are not familiar with the UUA organizations, we're on a fiscal year, and we have a General Assembly of delegates from all the churches throughout the United States. Once a year, we call it the GA, and this year it's being held again in Pittsburgh. So any of you who are interested in finding out more about that or attending, get in touch with Susan in the office. She'll be able to talk to you about that. And if you are in need of financial assistance, we may be able to help with that as well. Here last year, Rev Walter conducted a survey of the congregation to get a feel for what was on their minds regarding activities we should be engaged in the greater community. First among those was visibility, to improve the visibility of UUA within the community. We have 3 actions in regard to that interest that were before the board this month. The first comes to us from Sarah Divers. Actually, she brought 2 to us. She's a new member of the board. The first is a nonprofit dance academy called Mish Moves. Mish Moves provides a dance instruction for roughly 150 youth from 4 to 18. They have casual and they have competition groups. Yes. So they have quite an extensive program, and they want to do a fundraiser here in March on the 25th, which is a Saturday. So we have approved their coming in. We're going to support that. Secondly, Sarah has us marching in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Yes. With flyers, with QR codes, right? So you just, with your cellular phone, and just magic, that sucker goes right to our website so you can learn all about who you are. Isn't that cool? And then lastly, just yesterday, we had a collaboration with the Racial Justice Committee, our defibrillator education team is what I'm calling it, headed up by Matt Livingston, and Williams Memorial, our sister church. They wanted to get a defibrillator. They needed 40 bodies there to qualify, and they were a little bit short. 17, about 17, Rev. Walter, of our members went over to help make that quota. So there's some collaboration within that. Yeah, yeah. Moving on, Betsy Biesenbach, who is our head with the AV setup, brought to us a need for a second AV console up there so we can secure all the magic stuff that they use there. And we approved that. And get this, volunteers stepped up to build that sucker. Jerry Trammell and, remind me, yes, these fellows are donating their time and their talents to get this sucker built for us. Isn't that nice? We have an open house coming. Yeah, it is. We're having an open house coming in February. It'll be an educational opportunity to learn more about everything that your church is involved in the greater community. The Gen Cam, my very favorite, is on the board for this spring. You'll be hearing more about our planning as we go along, but we will be having lunches after church during the Gen Cam where we can more fully inform you about our plans and what we want to do for the coming year. These will be catered lunches, so it'll be very convenient for you to stay and get some information, and we'll have about 4 of those during the duration of the generosity campaign. That's our pledge time, excuse me. And then let's see. Oh, yes. We will end with a report coming the 5th of March on progress on the developmental goals, recalling that Rev. Walter is a relatively new breed of pastor here called a developmental minister. It was newly established by the UUA only a few years ago. And part and parcel of his mission here was involved making a statement of developmental goals that we wanted to accomplish during his tenure. And so we're nearing the halfway point on that already. And so on the 5th, we will have a report to you of, amazingly, Catherine, quite a few things we have actually done towards these goals. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention.
So this is a hymn, and I've got this is from Singing the Living Tradition. I don't know how rock stars do this all the time. They play and talk, and my brain is not doing it. So I've got some song leaders who are going to walk up front, and we're going to sing this. And my hope is soon we can all sing this together, but not today. They'll sing it for us. This is by Jim Scott. Now it's working. Gather the Spirit, harvest above, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of His love, our truth is light, appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Cease for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the choices of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
Thank you, thank you. That's one of my favorites. Our opening words this morning come from the Reverend Dr. Leslie Takahashi. She's currently the president of the Ministers Association. The piece is entitled, "We Gather as Many Drops." We gather as many drops, each winding our own path down life's surface and ruts. Here we pool together a single body, flowing together for a time. Together we're a stream, at times even a river. For with our shared force, we can travel toward oceans of meaning and seas of connection. And unlike nature's streams, we as a community have the option to choose the route we travel. Our chalice lighting words come from Marjorie Montgomery, also a minister. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
May the light we await all inspire us to use our lives, to heal and not to harm, to love and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of light.
Us? Thank you.
Thank you for carving out a little time for me today. So I spent a lot of time talking to Teresa yesterday, and first of all, I wanted to say that, remind everybody, I'm Jack Perkins. My bringing my family here for a couple months now, and we are overjoyed to be part of the Unitarian family. So I run the Compress and Shock Foundation, and yesterday's event was a collaborative one, and I am extremely grateful for all the members who showed up in support of Williams Memorial Baptist Church. And I just wanted to give a little bit, the timing is perfect because you were mentioning this morning about opportunities for visibility in the community. That is exactly what yesterday's event was. So just for those who aren't familiar, so the Compress and Shock Foundation, we are driven towards delivering free CPR and AED education to the community. And in the past 6 months, we have really defined that community as all communities within a special importance to communities that don't have equal access to healthcare education and those that have largely been left behind with CPR and AED education. The medical literature is clear that the outcomes are much worse in Black and Hispanic communities. So yesterday's education at Williams Memorial was of significance to us because we videotaped it and we're putting it together as a package to try to engage other communities that just don't have the same access to healthcare education. And so while this was a pilot study, what we are trying to do and hoping to partner with the Unitarian Church, and I mentioned to Teresa, we're hoping to partner well beyond Roanoke to the Unitarian churches anywhere in the United States to help engage not only Unitarian churches, but other churches that, such as sister churches like Williams Memorial, for our June 3rd event. So this is for everybody to consider, and talk to myself or Karen if you're interested. Karen's my wife and the vice director of the foundation. So June 3rd is going to be our annual CPR and AED education day for the public. It's always going to be the first Saturday of June, which partners with the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Awareness Week that the American Heart Association has been doing for quite a bit of time. In this local area, we're hoping to have about 10 sites. We would love for those to be largely demographics that have a barrier to healthcare education, and whether that's the Black community, Hispanic community, whatever that barrier might be, and partner it hopefully with another community that has a little bit more access to education, exactly as we did yesterday. So perhaps an ideal way for the Unitarian Church to support a lot of fellow churches in the community to bring them this education. So just throwing that out there and saying that yesterday was, I think we had about 50 people, and we're going to share some of the photos, and the entire event was recorded if anybody wants to see it and exactly what we offer to the public. One of the beauties of yesterday's event was that we brought Station 5, which is the fire and EMS station in Roanoke City that serves Williams Memorial Baptist Church. They actually sent over 8 paramedics and firefighters to take part in the instruction, and they actually almost uniformly came up to thank me after the event and said that we are a quarter mile from Williams Memorial Baptist Church and have never really had the opportunity to bring education to our community in such a fashion. And that was exactly the point, bringing together stakeholders in the community to improve outcomes, especially for cardiac arrest and communities that have traditionally suffered the worst outcomes. So I welcome collaborations, whether through the church, personally, your personal contacts, businesses, whatever. We're trying to make this a Roanoke-born endeavor that goes throughout the country. And couldn't be happier and more thankful for the partnership yesterday. So thank you for the time to talk about that briefly.
Good morning. I'm actually starting up here because this morning we're learning a little bit about service in community. So if you usually come up and sit with me for a story, or you leave this sanctuary when we go upstairs, you guys have a task this morning. All around the room, there are some things on the floor. If you don't mind grabbing those, and you might have to get them from adults who picked them up already. You can say thank you to those adults, but everybody get up, spread out. And if you are one of those adults that you've picked one up, you might want to put it in a smaller hand. and we'll meet at the story chair. We might have all of them. There weren't that many. And you might have found something that wasn't put there on purpose. Will you hand them all to Kevin when you get here? So how many people picked up all these pieces? Raise your hand. And if you're out there and you picked up a piece of something, you can raise your hand too. Now I have a question. Was that quick or slow? It was quick. It was quick. Was that easy or hard? Easy. It was quick and easy. Would it be that way if I told you that you had to do it by yourself, maybe? No, why not? Because it would take more time. Do you think you would have been able to find all of those pieces? Yeah, probably not. Some say yes, some say no. It would have taken me forever to find all of them because I'm not always great at finding things that are on the floor. You guys just did exactly what a church does. We, as the UU Church of Roanoke, like to get together and help people with things. Sometimes we go do yard work. Sometimes we clean the church, just like you just did. This is what service and community is all about. And we are going to upstairs have a lot of fun making some things that we're going to hang up for the church to invite them to help us do the same thing. Now, this was quick and easy, but some things are a little slow and they're a little hard. But we can do those things too when we work together. Do you think we could do that? All right, well, let's go work together and make some invitations.
Our reading today comes from The Compassionate Life by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. All events and incidents in life are so intimately linked with the fate of others that a single person on his or her own cannot even begin to act. Many ordinary human activities, both positive and negative, cannot be conceived or apart from the existence of other people. Even the committing of harmful actions depends on the existence of others. Because of others, we have the opportunity to earn money if that is what we desire in life. Similarly, in reliance upon the existence of others, it becomes possible for the media to create any fame or disrepute for someone. On your own, you cannot create fame or disrepute, no matter how loud you might shout. The closest you can get to create it is an echo of your own voice. Thus, interdependence is a fundamental law of nature. Not only higher forms of life, but also the smallest insects are social beings who, without any religion, law, or education, survive by mutual cooperation based on an innate recognition of their interconnectedness. The most subtle level of material phenomenon is also governed by interdependence. All phenomenon, from the planet we inhabit to the oceans, clouds, forests, and flowers that surround us, arise in dependence upon subtle patterns of energy. Without their proper interaction, they dissolve and decay.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share and from this we live. I love that little ditty, even when I don't sing it well. I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to sing that this morning. I find those words moving, spiritual, in fact. Such few simple words capture what community is all about. But more specifically, what a faith community is all about. That little ditty recognizes the I and the you of community. It recognizes the give and the take that's required of us to be in community. But most importantly and foundationally, its significance lies in the last two phrases. Together we share, and from this we live. In other words, it's the sharing that takes us beyond merely being alive to a place of truly living. Sharing connotes a giving and a receiving. Both are required to close the circle of sharing. Both are necessary in the true sense of community. This morning I want to focus on the giving side of the equation. I'm going to reframe a little bit and talk in terms of service, which is a particular kind of giving, a particular kind of sharing. Our theme for today is service. To provide service, to be of service, to serve. This is what I want to focus on this morning. Webster's defines to serve as to be of use, to furnish or supply with something needed, something desired. It's also service, as in to be of help, to be of use, benefit, to contribution to the welfare of others. I'm really proud of you and pleased that so many of you were of service to William's memorial yesterday. Thank you. In the Jewish tradition, contained in the Mishnah, the authoritative interpretation of Scripture is the Hebrew concept of tikkun olam. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it poorly. Tikkun olam expands our usual understanding of the term service. We might even say it sanctifies the term service. It's a phrase that means repairing or healing the world, which suggests humanity's shared responsibility to heal, to repair, and transform this world of ours. This concept is intended to inform not only Jewish thought, but moreover, behavior. Actions and the deeds are intended to reflect the concept of assuming personal responsibility for repairing, for healing the world. Not because it has been written, but because it's the right thing to do. It moves us in the direction of harmony. I want you to imagine how your day-to-day decision-making process, your day-to-day behaviors might be affected by living out that exact expectation, by internalizing a sense of responsibility to help heal the world. A guy by the name of Cesar Chavez said, "We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations, the needs of others, for their sake and for our own sake. It seems a very Unitarian, Universalist construct. It's a way of perceiving the world. It so fully reflects a way to operationalize honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Progress, prosperity for our community, for the sake, for their sake, and for our own, is a way to acknowledge our interconnectedness. It's in the doing, not the thinking, not the conceptualization. It's in the doing that matters. It's the doing part of small group ministry. We've been calling it listening circles. It's that process that makes me such a fan of this thing we call small group ministry, listening circles. And I've been pushing small group ministry from well before I arrived here in Roanoke. And I will continue to push it as the best way I know to operationalize community, a faith community, a shared community. In small groups, we have an opportunity to practice being in meaningful community. Being in meaningful community, not just together, but meaningful community. We have the opportunity to learn that the sharing of our lives does not require us to like one another, does not require us to be friends. It does not require that we share the same exact outlook on life, certainly not the same politics. It doesn't require that we believe in the same God, or any God at all, for that matter. In fact, having significant overlap in likes, viewpoints, and preferences is not real life. There's too much diversity in the world for us to expect to regularly encounter people very much like ourselves. Often, and much to our chagrin, such overlap doesn't even happen or exist within the smallest of our communities. Two-person relationships, within families, within workplaces. Growth, spiritual development lies in navigating our differences in such a way that we continue to honor the other's inherent worth and dignity, in such a way that we don't lose sight of our interconnectedness and the larger whole of which we are all a part. Small group ministry provides a safe place to practice both being ourselves and learning to accept others in their true selves. All of this without regard for political beliefs, all of this without regard for personal foibles. In other words, small group ministry, listening circles, is a mini version of a faith community, a healthy congregation. While doing some research on the theology of service, I came across some small group ministry session plans focused on service. Here are some of the readings and questions I found. Any ordinary favor we do for someone or any compassionate reaching out may seem to be going nowhere at first, but may be planting a seed we can't see right now. Sometimes we need to just do the best we can and then trust in the unfolding. We can't design or ordain. Words of Sharon Salzberg. The call to service is a yearning for the heart to live and move beyond ourselves. Love, compassion, gratitude lead many to a life of service. Frederick and Mary Ann Brissett from Spiritual Literacy. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Words of Martin Luther King Jr. In helping others, we shall help ourselves. For whatever good we give out completes the circle and comes back to us. Words of Flora Edwards. We include service in our model of small group ministry because service is always both a path and an outcome of spiritual growth. Calvin Dame. The session plans give us some questions to ponder and answers during our sessions with our fellow travelers, such as describe a time when you reached out to someone or when someone reached out to you with a simple gesture of the heart. What feelings did this gesture evoke? Another construction is, there is a need for service on a person-to-person level and for service on a broader level, working for change locally, nationally, or internationally. Based on your experiences, does one appeal to you more? If so, how? Why? A powerful intimacy can develop when groups work together to serve. Describe a time when you felt this and what it meant to you. These short readings and questions are designed to take us deeper into ourselves. They ask us to reflect on our thoughts, reflect on our beliefs, our feelings, and our experiences, and then share them as part of who we are, part of ourselves, part of a community. We share both for ourselves and for others. Service is both a spiritual practice and an obligation. The foundational principles that guide our listening circles here is this. Every member of this congregation should believe they will be cared for. Every member of this congregation should believe they will be cared for as best we are able. Being cared for comes with membership. Caring for someone in need can be a spiritual practice that benefits both the giver and the receiver, both ourselves and the larger community. Just as every member should feel like they will be cared for, every member should accept the responsibility to be caring. Service to others in one form or another is an obligation that comes with membership in this faith community. It's what balances giver and receiver. Otherwise, you're only here for yourself with a selfish act Now, I do want to be clear about this. It's not illegal, it's not unacceptable to be selfish. It's not unchristian. And it may well feed self-care at any moment in time. It's simply not a manifestation of together we share, and from this we live. It does not further take home olam. I want you to remember Webster defines to serve as to be of use, to furnish, supply with something needed or desired, and service as to be of help, use, benefit, contribution to the welfare of others. Those definitions seem to go a long way in defining a faith community. A congregation is all about people and their relationships. A healthy congregation requires people who give by way of service and those who receive such blessings with grace. We are blessed by those who find a way to be of service, who contribute to the welfare of others, who manifest tikkun olam, helping to repair or heal the world. Carrie, Jesse, our caring committee, ushers, greeters, safety folks, connections team, all in service of who we are in this community. Now, certainly there are other notable givers, providers of service in our midst, and there are those who have grown tired and are in need of rest. We owe them our gratitude. We owe them our appreciation for helping to make us who we are. As they slow down or step away, we need others to step forward. As times and circumstances change, as new needs arise, we need people willing to step forward and give of themselves, to give of their time, to give of their capabilities, and to be the best of who they are, shared with us all. Individual to individual, person to person, human to human, group to group, all versions of person to person. A healthy congregation requires it. It's the responsibility of membership. And we hope all that serve can say what Tagore writes. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. I close with the words of Albert Pine. What we have done for ourselves alone dies with us. What we have done for others and the world remains and is immortal. May we each seek some form of immortality. Amen. Ashe, and may it be. Now is a time for which we can practice giving, as is every day. Time for giving of ourselves, sharing who we are and who we have become. Now is a time of sharing the responsibilities for sustaining this place that feeds us, that holds us, and encourages us. The offering will be gratefully received. This is another form of sharing, another form of supporting the life of this congregation, and we're grateful.
Good morning. Let's see. I'm Robert Wallenborn, and I'm a member of the Caring Committee. And one of the things that the Caring Committee does is we record the current joys, concerns, and milestones of the congregation as lifelines. If you would like to tell us about a joy, concern, or milestone to be shared, you can either call or email a member of the Caring Committee, or call or email the church office, or you can write it in the Lifelines book, which is normally on the altar before and after the service and during the rest of the week in the alcove beside the name tags in the hallway. Let us enter into a time of reverence together into the space of love and hope. We bring these concerns today. Beth Griffin reports her aunt Helen, who had a stent placed in each leg, either in November or maybe early December, asked that you keep her aunt Helen and her family in your thoughts and prayers. She suffered a major setback after yet another surgery recently. And some of you may know, Hildy Getz had been having some cardiac issues, and she is going to be having open heart bypass surgery on Friday, January 27th. And then will remain in the hospital maybe 3 or 4 days, and then move to a rehab facility to recuperate for a while after that. So we all send our wishes to Hildy for a healthy recovery. Okay. Okay. And now I share these words. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. May all beings be free. If you would like to light a candle for something that is on your heart this morning, I invite you to come forward during the music meditation, and may the warm light of that flame bring you peace. And please use both sides of the altar.
Sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within.
So I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you. And so I want you to know
that I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't worry. I'll go just like you need to go. There is no need to worry.
'Cause I am sending you light to heal you, sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
May our prayers be heard and our hearts be restored.
Our prayer this morning comes from the centering moment by the Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. It's entitled, Forgive Us Our Blindness. There are errors of the mind which make for bad judgment when things seem to be distorted, twisted, and misshapen. An innocent remark comes to us in the words of hurt, shock, or makes afraid, turning a friend into an enemy. A decision is made to utter haste. The decision is made in utter haste before there is time for the wisdom of one's years to yield. A need is turned away from our door because we are sure that it is not what it seems. It's so easy to be taken in, or so it seems. Forgive us our blindness. There are moments of authentic callousness or hardness of heart when we are not aware of the barb in our spoken words or the shattering sequence in the life of another following from the recklessness act that ignores, passes over, or degrades. There are other times when we rise to the defense of our own pride of position and place, thus rendering deep insecurity to someone who looked to us for the encouraging word and the compassionate glance. When we responded without mind to the urgent request which sprang full grown out of another's pain. Forgive us our blindness. Father, grant us the awareness that opens wide the doors of our hearts that will make us, in our own way, keep a sense of what is vital in others, even as our lives become more and more transparent and of no harm to anyone. Amen.
So our announcements today. The listening circle is going to resume once again. The sign up is no later than January 24th. It will run from February through May. Our Living the Question book discussion group is going to be starting a brand new book. We meet at 9:30 on Sundays before the service in the Olin Room, and the book topic is going to be on Buddhism. So we invite you to attend that. The office will be closed on Monday, January the 16th for Martin Luther King birthday. I'd like to also invite you to our coffee service after the service is done today. I want to give a special thanks. We had a cancellation person that was volunteering to run the coffee service, had to back out at the last minute. So I want a special word of thanks to Teresa Poole and Robert Wellenborn for stepping up and handling the coffee service. That is yet another example of making a return, a commitment back to the congregation and being of service.
Today is the day we've been given. It's an opportunity to practice to be alive, an opportunity to share our lives with one another. Go into your week in peace.
Here we have gathered, called to celebrate days of our lifetime, whether small and great. We of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can, sing now together this our heart's own song.
Let me take a moment of personal privilege. Several weeks ago, I was diagnosed as having lung cancer. Since then, I think I've seen 73 doctors, technicians, blood drawn from various parts of my body. I began chemotherapy at the end of this week. I'm getting good care. I've never been down this road before, so I don't really know what to expect, though I've walked the path with various parishioners. I understand I should expect to lose some more hair, and I know there will be days when it will be easier to work from home. I want you all to know that Yvette and I have good support systems in place, and we've been strengthening them up over the last week or two or three. I've become very clear that I'm fortunate to have done a great deal of energy work, spiritual development work, that I have that history and experience under my belt. It's taught me that I am not my body. I'm hopeful that that distinction will live with me in day-to-day moments. Here's what I need from you. I need you to continue to be you. I need you to continue to be my parishioners. I need you to allow me to continue to minister as best I can. I guess that's the news. And I guess the last thing I'll say to you about this, at least in the moment, prayers are accepted. We have closing words. I don't have them in front of me. We extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry on our hearts until we are together again.